Welcome to the broadcast. Welcome back. I hope everybody had a great day, great night, is having a great morning, wherever you are around the world. I'd like to acknowledge you and thank you all for these past several years of you participating into these conversations that I have with you all. I am humbly appreciative that you all feel so passionate about the words that I'm speaking, that you tune in night after night. I truly appreciate that. Those of you who have positive things to say, those of you who come with warm tidings from around the world, be it Australia, the United Kingdom, all throughout the United States. I certainly appreciate you all, and I thank you for that. Unfortunately, before we get started, I find it necessary to deal with some of the individuals that choose to visit my broadcast. Now, this is always, or page, this is always a very minor few. It's not a lot of people, but it's enough that there's a need to deal with it. And I'm referring to those who like to criticize my page. Look at the comment section in my my videos. Look at the comment section on my community page. You have people telling me things like, "Hey, you should do what Kevin Samuels does," or "You're not doing what he did." You have people who, my understanding is that the lovely ladies in YouTube referred to me as the bad man, and the reason being is because they know that without my permission, which is my name, without you or using my name without my permission, could get them sued because it's trademark, and the word has gotten around secretly that I have been suing people and sending people cease and desist letters, and I've threatened to take houses, and cars, and garnish wages, and I will do that. Nevertheless, I accept being the bad guy. Why? Well, first and foremost, because the good die young, and I intend to live a long time. Okay, but unfortunately, the truth, unfortunately, is that there are many among us, and the only thing they respect, or should I say, they don't respect anything. They only respond to fear, pain, violence, and threats. That's it. Those men who have come amongst us and have been kind to us, those great leaders that we have, and I'm talking about my Black American kinsmen here, you destroyed them. You reviled them. It is only after their passing, oftentimes, when white people gave you permission to accept them, that's when you began to love them. You hated MLK until he was killed, and they had streets named after him, and then you loved him. But the truth is, you don't really love him, because if you loved him, his name, Martin Luther King Boulevard, would not be synonymous with one of the most violent streets in any city, in any town in America. So you don't really love him. You don't love Malcolm X. You definitely don't love the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Many of you are fearful of even saying his name, even though these men, like so many others, have openly expressed their love for you and expressed their desire to save you, and even at their own expense. Say, I'm not like those men. I'm not going to do that. I love you, but I don't like you enough to even lie to you, to tell you, to try to make you feel better about it. My message is for a limited few. My message is for those who want to find peace, those who want happiness, those who respect the fact that this is a hostile world and that they want to try to find a way to resolve the conflict that they deal with. That's it. The path I present you to you is not the only path. It's one of few, but it's a path no less. And it's not one that I intend to lead you down at all. I'm not your leader. I'm simply presenting to you an option. See, the thing is, I don't have to be here, or they don't have to be here. That's the first thing. The fact that I have so many critics willing to voice their criticism means that they're my enemies. I'll say that again. My critics don't have to be here. This is YouTube. If you didn't like the channel, just simply change it, go somewhere else. You don't have to be here. But the fact that you're here means that you're my enemy. And I know that's harsh to say, because oftentimes we as Black Americans, we are not taught to speak in terms so adversarial. But you are, in fact, my enemy. And you are, in fact, the enemy of what I stand for, because you don't know me as a human being. You don't know me as a person. You merely see me as a successful African American man or Black American man. And so, therefore, you are the enemy of all successful Black American men and those men who would be successful Black American men. You are the core problem. You are the crabs at the bottom of the barrel, dragging down the other crabs who are trying to get out of the barrel, a barrel in which they didn't put themselves in. So you are my enemy, and I will treat you as such, because that's how you presented yourself to be. See, these critics, they hate themselves. So they're looking for a reason to hate other Black men, because you, successful Black men, you up and coming Black men, you Black men who want to be successful, who are positive and making steps forward, you remind them of how inadequate they are. And so they hate you for it. The other thing is, the services that you're receiving from me are given to you freely. You don't pay, the critics especially, you don't pay to be here. I'm not receiving some sum of money from this social media to be here talking to you. So, in this regard, it's a privilege for you to be here. And you're criticizing something that, number one, it's a privilege to have, which means you're not entitled to it. And what is that? That is my time and my energy. My time and energy are reserved for those who I love, like my children and my family, and those who pay for my time. The same time and energy that I give to you night in and night out for free. So that's the second reason. Here's another thing you have to understand how I know who you are. You critics who, number one, don't have to be here and are receiving a service for free that you're not entitled to. You're also interfering with what I and so many other Black men are trying to do. Our mere presence on YouTube, night in and night out, is changing the image of Black men. The truth is, the world has never seen this many intelligent, well spoken, well dressed, handsome Black men as they see now on YouTube. When the world sees us, they literally fall in love. Not necessarily in an erotic sense, but I'm sure there are YouTubers, there are brothers out here that the ladies like. Rather, they admire our image. They admire the image of a positive Black American man, something that they have not seen. The only people that are adversarial to this are white supremacist racists, the radical Black feminist, and the Black men who hate themselves that I mentioned above. Nevertheless, we, the Black men that you see on Black YouTube, we are together changing the image of Black men. Our friend, the Godfather, who's no longer with us, who is now gone on, said this to me: this battle will be won on the optics and the emotions. And I know that we are proceeding forward in that battle to win the image back that has been stolen from us. How do I know? This very day, in reading my comment section, there's a young woman named Farah who said, prior to watching my videos, the lead attorney's videos, mediocre tutorial and reviews videos, and the late Kevin Samuels videos and content, her reputation of Black men was that we were gangsters, thieves, drug dealers, killers, absent baby fathers, murderers. And I paraphrase that. But now she knows better. See, these haters and critics who attack us, or really what we represent, because again, they don't know us. They have to be treated as enemies, and they must be destroyed if we as a people are going to move forward. If they're not destroyed, if they're not attacked, then those same haters will drag us back down into those stereotypes that white supremacists use as a reason to destroy us. So my presence here, and it's not me personally, it's not me personally that they hate. Again, they don't know me personally. It is what I represent. It is what the lead attorney represents. It is what Kevin Samuels represents. It is what MTR represents. It is what all the other well-spoken, intelligent Black men represent. If they're allowed to destroy that, then it's over. What we're doing here, not so much in our words, but our mere presence and our existence, is a matter of life and death for Black men, but more specifically for our sons. If we don't begin to change these stereotypes that Black men have had to endure since the time they entered into this country, which was used to keep us in chains, we will continue to suffer. And this is where we are. Now, let me say this also. I'm not Kevin Samuels. I am not your godfather. I am not dedicated to carrying the Godfather's work forward. I am an advocate for all men, and specifically as needed Black men. In doing so, I deal with a variety of issues affecting all men and specifically Black men when necessary. This includes family law, law enforcement, racism, religion, history, politics, fatherhood, drug use, stereotypes, travel, business, societal issues, intra-racism and racism, sexism, colorism, crime, and misandry, which means I will from time to time address female behavior. What I don't give is dating advice. What I don't give is advice on how you should look, because I am not an image consultant. So neither being an image consultant or a dating coach means I don't do the same work, and my calling is different than that of Kevin Samuels. And I'm certain that I've repeated that sentiment on numerous occasions. See, unlike Brother Kevin Samuels, I open my worldwide platform to men to speak openly and freely without fear of shame and guilt on my page nearly every night. These are men who may not otherwise ever have been heard or never have their voices amplified. People listen to this page, influential people, people like Judge Joe Brown and a whole slew of other actors and politicians that you all don't know are listening. And they do so, they listen to this podcast because I'm a successful American trial lawyer. Now, what does this do? It gives these men who otherwise are not heard and feel powerless an outlet that lets them know that they're not alone. In doing so, and the men who participate on these panels, I feel are saving lives. And we're saving this society from destruction that these men would otherwise cause when that frustration continues to build up. This is my calling, and it is separate from all others. Now, I know you miss Kevin Samuels, but he's dead. The angel of death took him, and now he's gone on to be with the ancestors. Many of you are looking for a replacement for him to do his work. But I'm here to tell you that no one can do his work. And I will not do his work. In my opinion, Kevin represented the last prophetic voice that will come to and from among Black Americans before our annihilation. And I don't mean annihilation by some sort of weapon of destruction. I mean our annihilation from admixture and assimilation. The reason being is because, number one, we have a toxic culture that causes for the men and the women not to get along. And number two, it causes for us to do horrible things to each other and repel each other, largely. So that means that I'm not necessarily red pill. That means that, according to manosphere speak, I'm more in line with the black pill, a nihilist in a sense, that I harbor extreme pessimism and a radical skepticism that condemns the idea that what we know as Black America will be around in 50 years. So again, listen to me. I am not your godfather. I am the harbinger of things to come. I am the Blizzard King. I am everything that Black America said it didn't want, but worked so hard to achieve. I am the product of the violence. I'm the product of the drug epidemic. I am the product of homelessness, of the prison industrial complex. I'm a product of the violence that existed in the streets in the 80s and the 90s. That's who I am. I am your accomplishment, Black America. I am what you produced over the past 50 years. And there are many more like me. So again, I am not here to save you. I am doing what the Most High has asked me to do and put me on this planet, and that is to speak to you and guide you through the destruction, those of you who are willing to come. Again, I'm Dennis Sperling. I'm the Blizzard King, and I ask that the Most High be pleased with my work. We'll be right back. Hey, if you're enjoying the content here at Dennis Sperling Unfiltered, make sure you support it by sharing, and subscribing to the channel. And also, hit that little notification bell in the corner so that you'll get notice of each and every one of our live feeds. Thank you, everybody, for your contributions. I appreciate it. Let's keep it going. Donate to the Super Chat. Donate to the PayPal. Donate to the Cash App. It's your contributions and your donations that'll cause for this platform to grow. Let our voice be the voice, the preeminent voice in Black America. Back to our regularly scheduled broadcast. I want to give a big shout out to everybody in the chat room. I want to thank all my folks for being patient and presenting with me presenting me with the opportunity to address the negativity, the elephant in the room. Thank you so much, Braxton Spivey. I want to thank Project 8020. I also want to thank Chukwu Igwe. Who else do I want to thank? All my guys, Mr. Albert, Urban Eagle, Tristan Turner. Did I say Braxton Spivey? I hope so. Thank you guys for keeping my chat room clear. Let's keep that chat room nice and honest. Hit the number 1 button. Tonight, fellas, we're going to have a special broadcast. And I think I've explained to you on many occasions what I like to do on this page. All right. Now, I'm going to set you guys up. I'm going to say some stuff and I'm going to bring you in here and then we're going to ask some tough questions. So I want the cream of the crop in here tonight. Alvin, 8020, I want you in here tonight. I need your help. And I also want to talk about your new channel, Alvin. I want to talk about Alvin's new channel. You guys have been seeing Alvin hang around here for about the past, I guess, year or so. Alvin has a new channel. I expect that you all will go subscribe to his channel before the night is over. So Alvin, go ahead and put your channel link in the chat room and I'll make sure that goes up. All right. So shout out to 8020. I want to get him to 1,000 subscribers so we can get him up and rolling and monetized as soon as possible. That's how it should be done. But either way, the lies and negative stereotypes about modern men, specifically Black American men, are the most, there are some that are so damaging that they're affecting us not just nationally, but internationally. And there's a constellation of misconceptions about Black men that we aren't good fathers. We won't work or provide for our families, that we're violent, that we're angry by nature and without cause. Hence, this is why we occupy the prison system as much as we do. Here's another one, that we are not monogamous. And that's just to name a few misconceptions, but the list seems to be endless and it grows daily. Okay. Honestly, we mainly have those stereotypes in America. That's part of our reputation. But our reputation is a lot better in countries overseas. But they're catching up. They're catching on over there, largely because of misinformation being sent. There are other races of women that now are beginning to harbor these stereotypes about us. Mainly, if you go to places like Latin America and Cali, I've been told by some brothers that go down there that the Latin American women are being told, or these Colombian women are being told, to avoid us because we don't commit. Okay, and they have been told that we just want to have sex with them, have a good time, and or that we just have good sex and that's it. Okay, so that basically tells them these women don't commit to us because that's all we're good for. So as you see, this is how that goes. All right. Now there was a story that came about after World War II, wherein some African American GIs were in France, and the French women were lied to and told by the white American GIs that Black American men had tails. And then they managed to convince some fool among them to go ahead and put a tail on. And when he put the tail on, he just became the butt of all the jokes. So there is some help, all right? But here's the thing. We have to deal with the fact that these negative stereotypes come from somewhere, all right? Now, first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to deal with the main ones. And there are several: criminality, inherently violent, sexual deviance, deadbeat fathers, nothing good but dumb athletes, that we're generally unworthy, that we're the poorest men, that we can't unify amongst each other, that we're jealous, that we're hateful, that we have low standards when it comes to women, and that we're unfaithful. Those are the main ones. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and open up the chat room because I want you gentlemen to come in. What we do here on this space that you all call the manosphere, what we do here on YouTube, what we as black men do here on YouTube, by our mere presence and by allowing people to step into our lives, we dispel these stereotypes. Now, there's all sorts of charts, all sorts of statistics, stats, and the things that demonstrate otherwise. But again, that doesn't matter. As I said earlier, we're going to win on the emotions and the optics. It's what people see. We've known for almost 7 years now that black men are the most involved fathers, yet we still have this. As far as this criminality, I think that the association between black males and criminality is one of the most damaging stereotypes that impacts our everyday. You got low income black males in news stories. And this probably is one of the biggest obstacles for middle and upper class black men to have to navigate. Because unfortunately, people of other ethnicities, they begin to lump all black people into the same stereotypical group. They see us all as low income, that low income, lack of class, ratchet black category. This is a problem. And the main problem with that is that oftentimes low income black Americans, they see their status and the way they act as the authentic black. In other words, Pookie and Ray Ray thinks he's blacker or he's authentically black, while middle and upper class black people are seen as inauthentic black. Now, some of you all remember maybe a year ago now, almost a year ago, when I came into the YouTube spaces and I literally opened up an attack on the Pookie and the Ray Rays. I literally called for their death and how upset that made so many and how people had to say, hold on, what do you mean? Because in your mind, brothers, and I'm talking to black men now, in your mind, that's authentically black. You allow these women to tell you what black masculinity is. That's why we can have a black man who is highly educated with a degree, a master's degree, walking around with his pants sagging, tattooed up. Because you, in your simpish ways, trying to please these women, want to appear as a thug, when you have a master's degree in business administration from Howard or Harvard or Yale or Hampton or Morehouse. Because you allow the lowest among us to define what blackness is, specifically what black manhood and black masculinity is. And that's very damaging to our self-image and to black American culture. We need to center middle and upper middle class values as the authentic black American values and push the high crime, high poverty, low end ratchet out the door or to the margins of society. We're not all rappers. And there are more of us in college than there is in prison or jail. But nobody knows that. We have the stereotype along with criminality, and this flows hand in hand, of being inherently violent. And they come to that conclusion, and this stereotype persists that we are the most aggressive and mean because of our arrest rate, which leads to our disproportionate over incarceration. If you're with me, hit the number 1 button. I don't see enough involvement in the chat room right now. See, we're talking about negativity right now. We're putting this negativity on ice. And in case you didn't recognize that mafia reference, that means we are killing this negativity tonight. That's what we're doing tonight. The Blizzard King is putting the negativity on ice, family, brothers, because that's who this conversation is for. I don't bother talking with women. I am not led by women. I expect you black men to lead. I expect you to not ask for permission to lead. I expect you to get out front and lead. And that's whether you got a white woman, Asian woman, Latino woman, biracial kids, your mama was white. I don't care. I still expect you as men to lead, period. So that's why I'm talking to you. And these are the stereotypes that we have to deal with. This is the negativity. Now, the truth is, more black men disproportionately are arrested. Well, actually, more white folk in the United States are arrested. More black people end up in the penitentiary system. Why is that? Well, number 1, because we are targeted, because we make easy victims. Because oftentimes we are disenfranchised, and your free lawyer down there at the public defendant's office is not going to do a good job for you. Because you walk in there and you already have that taint of those negative stereotypes sitting on your back. So when that jury and that judge see you, they assume, oh, he must have done something wrong. Whereas oftentimes, white folks get the benefit of the doubt. That's not me saying that. That's the system saying that. Why? Because more white people get arrested, but more black people end up incarcerated in jail. Somewhere between getting arrested and going to jail, in prison, white boys and girls get set free. That might have something to do with the fact that the judge is oftentimes white, the DA is oftentimes white, and they're willing to look the other way for their own people. I'm not mad at that. That's how it works when you up. Just like you're going to look out for your own son quicker than you'll look out for somebody else's son, that's how that works. It's going to be that way. If you ran your own countries and nations, that's how you would do it too. It's human nature. That's why I teach. That's why I tell y'all each and every night that racism is not going anywhere. And any fool that's on here telling you that it will is lying to you. It's as much a part as human nature as that heart you have beating in your chest. It's going to be there. So either you deal with it or you succumb to it, but it's not going anywhere. Now, what's another stereotype that we have to deal with, aside from the stereotype of criminality and violence? Sexual deviance. The pervasive stereotype is that we are all consumed by sex. That we are simply sex hungry at all times. And that's all we like. That's all we want. The mere looking at a woman, a black man looking at a woman infers to her what? He wants to have sex with me, even if it's just a regular glance. Now, we know where that came from. We needed to be portrayed as animals. During that 500-year time period, both before and now, we need to be portrayed as animals because those people who captured us, those Christian, those Jewish people, their Judeo-Christian values said that we cannot do this to our fellow man. So some kind of way, we have to treat them as though they are animals and less than animals and nothing but savages in order to justify that, even though those same people knew how dynamic and amazing the African was on the continent. The inventions of the African, the dynamic navigators that we were. There were Africans who were free in the United States throughout its history, even before it became the United States, who were themselves educated in the same universities and college as some of the brightest of the Europeans, who then came over here and said, no, these people are savages, as if there was a difference. And they knew it wasn't. Talk about delusional. They did it because it was convenient to do so. But here's the problem. We are currently being painted as sexual deviant, but then look at our athletes and look at our entertainers. They don't help the situation. The only way you can possibly get around this is to flat out avoid looking at women and try to stay out of sticky situations. Because the country has a history of viewing us that way. But that's not healthy. I read a story today. A young black man made fun of a lady walking by him in his place of employment. She told his employer he sexually harassed her. Thank God he had a witness there. The situation was embarrassing and it almost ruined his life, but it did ruin his ability to progress up through that country. And he learned a hard lesson. He says now he doesn't even talk to any women. There's another case that I read. A young man lost his job over this sort of alleged sexual behavior. Some other man who wasn't even there reported that he had sexually harassed some young woman who herself lied to him. Once she found out that he had some secret evidence, she quit the job, but he lost his job. There are school teachers. Another brother has had to deal with multiple false allegations. All lies. And even if you survive those allegations, you still get ostracized. You get painted as the N-word in the organization, even when you do everything you're supposed to do and exceed. And they get away with everything. There's a brother on the internet that has an entire podcast dedicated to not getting hit with these sexual harassment charges at his workplace. And it's so easy to pin them on black men because we have that reputation of being sexual deviants, even though that's not true. The other thing we deal with, and this seems to be one that the brothers hate the most, that we're deadbeat dads, that we abandon our family, when in reality, it was Black American women who wanted benefits. It was Black American women who wanted power and control over the family. And so they were willing to kick the man out because they saw him as nothing but a utility, and they can get money from the government instead of that man. It wasn't just that the government told them to kick out. They wanted to put those men out because they did not want to be under the instruction of a black man. Let's go ahead and get that straight. So you brothers think, oh no, she just made a choice. No, she wanted to make that choice because she wanted power. Black American women in the 1960s wanted power. That's what feminism called for. That white woman came and whispered in her ear, girl, you don't need to deal with that. He's oppressing you just like Todd is oppressing me. And I told you white fellas who are listening to me, those white women sent you out around the world to conquer the whole world. And when you came back, they gave you feminism, Me Too, and took your children in divorce court. White men have the highest rate of self-deletion of any other group of men in this country. That's what your white woman gave you. And what she did is she whispered that nonsense into these Black American women's ears and said, girl, you don't need to be under his oppression. The government will give you a check. Just put him out. And she fell for it. And then they turn around and willing to accept no blame at all. They turn around and say, oh no, Black men have abandoned their children. We don't love our children. We're deadbeats. It's a hurtful lie that we don't love our children. And they lie about us in the absence of us, and our children grow up and believe those lies. They make it seem as though we just up and left the home for no reason. Now that you saw the late, great Kevin Samuels work night in and night out, you know the goddamn reason. Now, you saw it firsthand for 2.5 years straight. Go look at those videos. It was on display for the world to see. Being called not a good father is one of the worst things that can happen to a man. Because part of your manhood and part of who you are and how you're defined as a man is your fatherhood. Now, the crazy thing is, the statistics show that the vast majority of these women are being impregnated by a very small percentage of men. But nobody ever talks about that. Nobody says that 80%, 70 to 80% of these women are being impregnated by, the single mother specifically, are being impregnated by 20% of the men. Acting like the single parent situation rests entirely on the backs of Black men completely ignores the environment for the past 50 years. It's a lie told by Black American women and passed down to the men and the boys that they raise. And it's been reinforced by Hollywood and the media, and these stereotypes are pervasive. Why don't they ever say anything about all these Black men being stepdaddy and raising children that they know aren't theirs? And what about the Black men that are raising children that they don't know aren't theirs? Why is that never discussed? And let me tell you something else, just so we can stick a pin in this. When Black men lead their families, they're not always responsible solely for that single parent home. See, for every deadbeat daddy, quote unquote, there's a woman choosing to raise kids alone out of perceived convenience and freedom. In other words, she wants her power. There's also a woman who doesn't know who the father is. There's a woman who wrecks her own home thinking she can do bad all by herself. There's a woman having children for child support alone. There's also a woman who loved a man and was involved in things she shouldn't have been involved in, and he was involved in things he shouldn't have been involved in, and he is either in jail or dead. I want you to think about that the next time you say deadbeat daddy. Hit the number 1 button if you can hear me, brothers. Along with the stereotype of criminality, that we're inherently violent, that we're sexual deviants, that we're deadbeat dads, here comes the dumb athlete stereotype. This stereotype is damaging and pervasive, as it questions our intelligence and says, oh, we're intelligently weak and physically strong, and that's it. That we're good for nothing but being NBA ball players and rappers. A black man can't be a doctor or a lawyer or a successful business owner. That we're not smart. We're not good at sports and entertainment. Yet you see me sitting here night in and night out. You see Dr. Tiasan Johnson sitting here night in and night out. You see the Green Gorilla. You see the lead attorney. You see MTR. Brother has a master's degree. You see all these brilliant, intelligent black men. And when you see us, you see men dispelling those negative stereotypes and making your life better, but more importantly, your son's life better. So we know it's not true. But we're not going to win by telling them that. We're going to win on the emotions and the optics. They need to see it. That's why they have that saying, I can show you better than I can tell you. I got a couple more. Y'all with me? And we're going to let folks in here. I want to hear this. This is not going to be an easy conversation to have. It's going to be difficult. Those of you guys who choose to come in here, we're talking about negativity. Any of you all who've ever had anything bad to say about a black man, you're part of the problem. And we're going to talk about it. Especially a black man doing well, looking well, feeling well, looking good. That old N-word ain't S-H-I-T. That's what y'all say. He ain't all that. That car ain't that fly. He can't run that fast. He not that good. He talk like he white. All of y'all are the problem. There's another stereotype I want to deal with. That we're the poorest men. They even say we're poorer than Latino men who come here oftentimes as immigrants. Black American women constantly use that trope, lie, that we're the poorest men because we're not the number one earners. But according to them, because we're the poorest member, we don't deserve respect. We don't deserve submission. And that's why they rely on the government. And we know that's a goddamn lie, don't we? We know that black men on average make $42,000 a year and white men make $51,000 a year. That's the average. That does not translate, as Kevin Samuels would say, $9,000 does not translate to the least respected group of men on the planet. Latino men make less than us, and they're the most respected men in this country. Go hang out one of their houses, and you'll see. Black men have entered the middle class to the tune of 64% of black men are either middle class, upper middle class, or rich. That may have been a time when we were a poor group of people, but we're not. Not now. There's another stereotype I want to deal with. That we're jealous and hateful and can't unify. That we're selfish and always looking to get over on another man. That we refuse to act together so we can win. Now, I remember going to a university in North Louisiana called Grambling State University that was originally named Negro Normal University. I'm sorry, Negro Normal College. That was started in 1901 by some black folks who were fresh out of slavery. I remember that. And there are 160 some odd other black universities just like that. What about the thousands of black towns that black men came together and unified to create and build economies? What about those? So that's a stereotype. That we're generally unworthy is another stereotype. And that goes along with something else. The stereotype that we have low standards. The link is in the chat room. Come on in. Let's hear you. Come on in, brothers. Bring your fact sheets and come on in. Because they say that all y'all like is fat white women, fat black women. That's what they say about you. You're the Mikey of the dating pool. Mikey would eat anything. That you like playing stepdaddy. That you like your women to look like 304s. But the truth is, I see too many of you brothers willing to play stepdaddy. Not only will you play single mom, but you'll play single mom to some white woman's little white baby or a little halfback baby that she got from somewhere else. I see it. I get where it comes from, but the truth is 52% of black men are childless and unmarried. 31% of black men are married. And the rest are single. The rest of them are single. And they have kids, but that's a small percentage in comparison. So these are the stereotypes. These are the stereotypes that we as black men deal with. Criminality, inherently violent, sexual deviancy, that we're deadbeats, that we're nothing but dumb athletes, that we're the poorest of men, that we can't unify, that we're jealous and hateful, we have low standards, and we're generally unworthy. These are the stereotypes that we are dealing with. And this is what I want to address tonight. So bring out your fact sheets, brothers. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back. I hope you guys understand the seriousness of this conversation and the need for what we call the manosphere, specifically the black men in the manosphere speaking up. This is what we need. Again, we're going to win on the emotions and the optics. Telling them is not enough. They're going to have to see it. But in the meantime, we're going to take a quick break and we shall return shortly. Y'all make sure y'all hit the #1 button.
I have a question. Where the fuck are our kings at?
Don't worry, fellas, I got this. They're at work right now, saving so they can get their passport together so that they can go ahead and get a wife that's foreign who has traditional values. They're at work right now, saving for retirement for one, because they don't want to take the chance of marrying a woman who can take half of their shit. You've canceled them. You've silenced them. Because either you was spouting a feminist narrative that doesn't allow men to be men, or you were silent while your sisters did and you didn't check that shit. They're effeminate because they were raised by single mothers and denied contact with their fathers. They're effeminate because you socialized them in school to act like women instead of to be men. They're effeminate because you taught them everything about their masculinity was toxic. you've turned them into women or disenfranchised them.
Thank you, everybody, for your contributions. I appreciate it. Let's keep it going. Donate to the Super Chat. Donate to the PayPal. Donate to the Cash App. It's your contributions and your donations that'll cause for this platform to grow. Let our voice be the voice, the preeminent voice in Black America. All right. Welcome back to the broadcast. I got Alvin in here, man. It's always good to have Alvin in here. So you finally took my hint, huh? And started your own channel, okay, Alvin. I was telling my fiance, maybe I need to let him host my channel for a little while. And he'll figure out what I'm trying to get him to do. You see what I'm saying? But congratulations on starting your own channel, Alvin. Let's talk about it. It's called Simple Shit. I like that, man. I was like, that's pretty good.
To be honest, bro, first of all, thank you for having me on. And once again, salute to everyone in the chat. Mm-hmm. I started it about a year and a half ago.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about your channel. You're on.
You know, Simple Shit TV, all it really is just a chance for, I think, all the conversations that I hear and I'm engaged with that I see on the internet are often people are talking past each other. They don't dig into the details enough to understand what they're really looking at. And so I said, well, what I need to do is I need to take some of these really big concepts. I need to boil them down to really simple concepts so that people can start to dig in if they see the need. So, you know, once again, when you look back at the population of Black people in this country, how we got here, a lot of the policies and the laws that keep us in the condition that we're in, you know, they complicate things so that people don't really figure them out, right? You know, one of the sayings that piss me off the most is that if you want to hide something from an N-word, you put it in a book. And that shit used to make me want to flip over tables, right? And people say that kind of shit and they laugh. And you know, COVID gave me an opportunity to sit back and really look into the history of the United States and our condition in this country. And what I realized was that the devil's in the details. If you look at what the old Supreme Court justices wrote, if you look at what some of these old senators and governors wrote, things that they said about Black people, and they mirror what you see right now. And if you look at the policies, if you take the Constitution from when they started and you bring it forward, you start to understand and start to see, oh, I understand why there's only a few of us in these handful of cities across the country. I understand why we only have a tenth of the family or the wealth that white folks do. I understand why Black kids have 4 times the likelihood of having asthma. I understand why Black women are 3 times more likely to have complications during pregnancy. I understand why Black women have baby deletions at 3 times the rate at every other group of people. And you start to say, well, we're in a trick bag and we're distracted by, and Uncle D said it, the athletes are out front and those are the people that you see. And we see who controls the media and we see who controls the images. And I say, oh, now I understand why cops feel perfectly comfortable pulling me out of my car or not recognizing my civil rights or any of these things. I understand why the bank doesn't want to cash my check. I understand. So, it on the surface, it seems as though everything is equal and normal and there's no such thing as racism. But when you really dumb it down and you dig a little bit, you understand that, us as Black folks, we're in a trick bag and we can't change any of those things until we control our own image, which is why I think people were so threatened by Kevin, was because he said, okay, well, I'm not going to allow you guys to put me in this box anymore. Now, and that's
what I'm talking about. I need you to tell all these folks how they can find your channel. Let me say it like this. I have put Alvin Holden's channel in the I pinned it up. Okay. So I want you all to make it your business to go over there and subscribe to him. We have 305 people in the chat room right now. I would personally appreciate it in order for us to dispel the negativity. The same negativity I'm talking about tonight. I would personally appreciate it if you show your appreciation by giving this well-spoken, intelligent young man your subscriptions. It's not going to cost you $1, but it is a big step in the right direction. Go over there. He got 71 subscribers. Y'all have heard him speak night in and night out.
Thank you.
Go subscribe to his channel.
Thank
You heard what the man said. He's going to explain things to you in a way that I'm not. First of all, he's younger. He got a lot more energy. You're not wearing glasses over there.
Not yet.
Right. But I want y'all to go do that. I want anybody who comes into this channel, who sees this broadcast, and it should be anywhere from 6,000 to 10,000 people. I want you to go subscribe to this channel. It's called Simple SHIT TV. And y'all tell me what you think. Y'all give me his grade. Y'all come back and tell me what you think. Tell me what it needs. Because this takes time. It takes a process to get to the point where people appreciate your words. Okay? But the link is in the chat room. The link is always also pinned up at the top of this on my page right here. It's pinned there. Click over there. Come back. I don't mind. You understand what I'm talking about?
Thank you.
Y'all go handle that. This is how we keep it going.
Thank you.
But in the meantime, man, I am proud of you, young brother. I've never met Alvin in person, but I've heard him. We speak on a nightly basis. He's a brilliant young man. And I look forward to, if you'll have me one day, I'd love to come over there and speak with you on your panel and let you see what it's like to deal with the public when people call out, whatever format you choose, because this is not easy work.
No.
Okay. But y'all go over there and sub to the brother's channel, man. Y'all go over there and listen to that brother. This is how we keep it going. See, I'm not a hater. See, I'm not threatened.
Yeah.
See, a lot of people, they don't want to I bring all kind of dudes up on this channel, man. And I broadcast people. The least I can do is someone who's been here night in and night out. And so this is what it looks like. You understand me? This is what it looks like, family. See, it's 8 billion people in this world. You don't have to worry about taking another man's bread. Go get your own bread. There's plenty out there. You understand what I'm talking about? Everybody can eat. I'm not going to hate on my brother. As a matter of fact, Uncle D, I'm not a hater at all. I'm a congratulator. I love the competition. Competition makes me better. You understand? And that's how we all need that. If you had a deep belief in the Most High God, which many of you Negroes say you do, but in reality you don't, you would embrace the competition because you recognize the competition makes you better. It keeps you alive. Remember that. That's what keeps you alive. When you stop competing, this might as well go ahead and die, baby. You don't even need air no more. But in the meantime, let's meet my man, Lord Giatron in here. Anybody who wants to come in, what's up, brother? Always good to have anybody who wants to come in. You're going to have to cam up. We don't do that non-cam stuff. We don't do we don't do no cowards over here. All right? We don't do that. You got to cam up. If you ain't camming up, you can't come in. I want to see you. See, I don't want you in here talking big stuff behind a dark screen. Because, see, I would rather have a lion leading 1,000 lambs than a lamb who's hiding behind a screen leading 1,000 lions. You understand? You see what I'm talking? You see how that is? You got a lot of people on the internet talking big shit, and they big and bad behind them dark screens. That's a lamb. Because whatever they scared of, it don't matter. The first word is they scared. And I don't follow scared men. And you shouldn't follow scary men either. You can listen to them, but listen to them like you listen to a pretty woman. You ain't really paying attention to what she say, is you? No, you're not. But anyway, man, my man, Lord Giatron, welcome back to the broadcast. Always good to have you here,
Yo,
man.
thanks, Unc, man. How you been,
Yes,
man?
sir. Yes, sir, man. Good to have you here, man. Come on, give us your wise words.
You been okay? I've been well. I've been away for a while. I've been working really hard. I've been
Good,
traveling
good.
and working with my little crew, my little guys, doing entertainment and things like that.
Oh, okay. What do you do? If you don't mind
Well,
sharing, I don't want to get all
my
in your business.
I'm under contract. I do infrastructure work in my day-to-day living, but I'm under
Okay.
contract with the company that I work for to take a leave whenever I need to for bigger business. And I
Okay.
got two rappers and one singer who I manage,
Okay.
and I'm basically like their support system, so to speak. They're up and coming, but I get them
Right.
booked and I get them in shows. I get them whether it's opening shows or whether it's performing in hookah lounges, uh, nightclubs, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to generate some currency and revenue with those guys, and also because they're so young and they're still trying to learn
Yeah.
and they're still growing. I'm trying to give them some direction to keep it all legal.
Yeah. All right, brother. Well, good. I'm glad you're busy, man. What do you think about the conversation? I know I started off in one direction earlier, but I had to deal with the
No,
haters. You
no,
see what I'm saying? Yeah.
you're awesome.
Yeah.
Like I'm glad you had this topic tonight because I had a situation happen to me about 2 weeks ago. So I went out to this little night spot. Not it's not like a club. I don't really like going to the club. I like
Mm-hmm.
sports bars, grills, hookah lounges, things like that. I like going to places like that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I was talking to this one lady, and they were like these two lesbians who she was with,
Mm-hmm.
and we got political. We were talking about why I'm conservative, and she's an
Mm-hmm.
extreme, one of those extreme radical leftists or whatever. And she was saying how Trump is this, Trump is that, blah blah blah. Anyway, I
Mm-hmm.
bought her a drink, and the
Yeah.
two lesbians called her over to me, and then I called the chick that I was talking to over to them.
Okay.
All the while, the bartender was watching what was going on.
Okay.
So I go to approach the lady, and secretly, while I'm talking to her, the one lesbian chick whispers to the bartender that they don't want to be bothered with me. So the bartender, hey, they don't want to be bothered, blah blah blah. So I looked
Mm.
at her. So on first impulse, I started to say, "Oh, where you don't want to be bothered," and snatch my drink back and walk the hell off.
Wow. Okay.
But to show a higher level of class, what I did was I bought another round of drinks. But instead of giving it to those three lesbian chicks, or those two lesbian chicks and the one chick who
Yeah.
was faking like she wasn't a lesbian chick, I took
Yeah.
the four drinks, and the bartender gave me two of them on him because he saw what happened. He was pissed off
Mm-hmm.
for me,
Yeah.
and I went, and they thought they were for them. I took the little thing that they hold the drinks on and walked the hell off, and just randomly gave them to three other women. But anyway, as far as
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
negativity, that brings me
Yeah.
to my point that I was about to make, my personal point of view, and I'm gonna land this plane. I'm gonna get to the point.
It's cool, brother.
What we as men
It's
need to
that
do.
night. Tonight is that night. We airing it all out tonight. We call this the all smoke
Okay.
show.
Well, I'm gonna let it out then. I'm gonna let it out. See,
Yeah.
that who hurt you, that why you so mad, why you angry, this, all those things. I'm a black man. I speak with bass. I speak with a lot of force. My shit hang low. I don't got one of them high pitched weak voices.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not mad, and I'm not hurting. And when I do get asked that question, who hurt you by these modern females out here? You did. That's who I tell them. You did. The condition of my community, the state of mind that you're in is so embarrassing that it hurts me right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But my point is, we need to stop being nice. It ain't anger. It ain't hurt. We need to learn how to start being mean. And when I say being,
yeah, go ahead, brother. Go ahead, get it out. Get it out. Come on.
what I mean by being mean, I had a premonition. I think back to my grandpops. He's passed away now, and my dad.
Can I challenge you on something though?
Please, I learned a lot from you.
When you say being mean, all you're doing is being assertive.
No,
See,
well, thank you. Matter of fact, it was you, Doc. It was you. You was the one who straightened me on that before. Go ahead, I'm listening.
See, in black American men are taught that being and doing the same things that every other group of men on this planet do on a normal basis, there's something wrong with it. And it's not until you get outside of this country that you realize that what you know to do naturally is normally and naturally what men do anyway. It is in this country that we are shunned and prohibited from doing things that we naturally know to do. What I'm saying is, most of what you do as a man is because it is bred into your DNA, it is down in your bones to do. If there were no other people around, we would still begin to exhibit what is determined to be male behavior. You would be protective of your children and your woman and what's yours. You would not tolerate disrespect. You would deal with threats largely the same way as you deal with now. Nobody has to teach you that. Now, they can unteach you or beat out of you or scare out of you or shame out of you that which is naturally within you to do. They can do that. But again, the way they shame you is by saying you speaking up for yourself is being mean. You exhibiting anger when you are faced with injustice is a toxic masculinitist or whatever the hell that is. So they shame you for the things that you would naturally do as a man. So that's the only thing I want to challenge you on. So it's not really being mean, brother. You just being assertive. Okay,
right.
Well, go ahead and finish the words, and we're gonna get to the other brother over here.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to say, with the rate of single motherhood in the Black community is rampant and embarrassing as it is, what I just like to say is, I had another reminiscence, a revelation, a premonition, or whatever. I think back to my mom's. Every time my dad wouldn't be around to give me manly advice or manly guidance, my mom would always say stuff with a measure of caution or fear, and like basically giving you a point of view where if you were a man, if she were a man saying those things, it wouldn't be cautious or, whatever. It would just be a straight up cowardice. And what I'm saying about the Black community, because with so much single mothers, they're breeding cowardice into our young boys. And that's why they're running around out here murdering and killing each other, to prove that they're not cowards. Something that their single mothers instilled in them and embedded in them. And they don't even have the man there to identify that, teaching that boy that he should be cautious about this, or he should watch that, or he should not do this because it will lead to that. You're not teaching them to be courageous. You're not teaching them to be strong like a man. You're teaching them a womanly trait, which equates to being a coward if you're a man.
So let me give you.
I don't know if you follow me on that. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Can I give you some, if you will, can I give you some more terminology that you can use?
Yes, sir, please.
If you don't mind. They're raising these young men to have female coping mechanisms.
Right. Cowardice. It's cowardice.
To them,
cowardice is not, that's not cowardice.
To them, that's not cowardice.
That's
Women
their
are
nature.
survivors. That's how they live.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. But when a man exhibits those qualities, it's looked at by like a man like me.
Yeah, it's perceived as cowardice to other men, but to women,
and that's what leads to the high murder rate in the Black community amongst each other, the high crime rate.
Yeah. So you're right on point, brother, and I'm proud of you. And
you proud of me for real, man?
I am very much so. I am. I am very proud. I'm very proud of a lot of you brothers that I've seen develop over the years. There's a young brother named Afro Patriarch. There's another brother, he would come in here with a t-shirt on and his hair uncut and just laid up in the bed. And then after seeing me in this suit or this tie for a year and a half, next thing I know, he got up, got a job. He was doing an interview from his used car lot. You see what I mean? And that's what seeing an image of somebody that looks like you or looks like your relative does. You begin to embody that. Now, the reason a lot of brothers couldn't wrap their mind around Kevin Samuels, because Kevin was one of them brothers that he was perfect to deal with the women. You see what I mean? He was just snappy enough to get in. It's like they weren't.
He enjoyed it.
They weren't. I can't talk to women like that because I would make them cry or they'll get mad. But see, he would. I don't want to say it, and I don't want y'all to perceive this in any way as negative, but he would snap on them in a way in which they could understand. He was the dude that talked to women that was, what's the word? A dandy. You guys familiar with that term, a dandy?
Yeah. He was soft enough. He was soft enough where they could take the pain, but he was hard enough where we would be able to understand what he was articulating.
He was suave, but he was all men have masculine and feminine traits. You understand me? And some men can talk to women in a language in which women can understand. Kevin was a master at that. You see?
Yes, he was.
I don't talk to women like that. I had to get somebody else to be a manager at my office because I talk to the women the same way I talk to the men. Matter of fact, on their first day at work, I said it ain't gonna be no sexual harassment in here. Everybody in here is either gonna be a man or a woman. Period. And y'all all gonna get the same treatment. So they didn't like me for that because I didn't cut them any breaks. But Kevin was good at speaking to them. So, but it was hard for you rough and tumble guys, you know, to relate to Kevin because it's like, nah, I ain't wearing no suit. I ain't wearing no effing suit. But me, you know, I chop my words up. I'm not that smooth. You see, I have bad, some days I'm real ugly.
You use the litigation in the courtroom.
Yeah, you know, and so what I'm saying is I'm like a football coach or something, man. You know, I'm like the football coach that made you run 50 gases every day and y'all hated me, but it's like, damn, I respect.
Hey, that's that California stuff. Hey, that's straight out of LA, bro.
Yeah, well, it's really just I'm just you in a couple years. I'm an almost 50-year-old black man that y'all like. Uncle D is cool as shit. He don't, you know, he cuss a little bit. And it's relatable. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
Hey man, you telling me you was proud of me really means something to me, man.
It is.
It really
you coming
means
here
something
saying
to me, man.
You working all them hours and you got a side hustle and you making money.
Yeah, hey bro, I work 50 hours or better a week and that's a side hustle.
I'm proud of you. I'm really proud of you. And I want to see more.
And it's all legal.
Men. Yeah, and that's the most beautiful part because that's gonna give you longevity. You're not gonna go to prison. I'm not gonna read about you in 4 or 5 years, you know, laid up on the side of the road somewhere. That's what I pray for, because that does not benefit any of us. But hang in there for a minute, man. And
I'm muted.
You keep up the good work, but don't go nowhere, brother. Kenton, did I pronounce your name with Kenton or Kenton? Kenton. Brother Kenton, welcome to the broadcast, man. What are your thoughts? And y'all hit the #1 button. Oh, damn. You know what? It's time for us to do roll call, man. Hold on a minute, y'all.
Respect. Do your thing.
This is Uncle D. Y'all see, y'all would have hung out with Uncle D about 10, 15 years ago when I was riding around in this low rider. Anyway, y'all hit the #1 button. We'll be right.
Hey, I'm about to show you something.
All right, welcome back to the broadcast, man. Big shout out to everybody who checked in. Let's see who we got up in here, man. Y'all supposed to check in. We got London, England in the house, ATL up in here, Florida. Florida, what are you doing checking in? You got a whole hurricane down there you dealing with, man. You supposed to be somewhere high now. Shout out to Florida, man. Shout out to Florida. Hold it down, man. Who else we got? Newark, New Jersey. Jersey in the house. Hattiesburg Hattiesburg, Pennsylvania, the Yate area, man. Shout out to all my folk in Louisiana. Yeah, that was that candy paint, but y'all didn't know that's I had alligator on the inside. I had some red alligator leather seats on the inside, and then the paint job actually it was candy paint, but it changed yellow and orange in the sunlight. So and then I put the switches on it. There's a guy up here on the north side of Houston called Shorty, and I took it to Shorty's Hydraulics and had Shorty put them switches. I had 2 gates, 4 switches, and 8 batteries in that thing, man. I used to have a good time, man, in that car. I was probably, I don't know how old Lord Geotron is. I was probably about 29, 30 years old when I had that car. I was having a good time in H-Town. Yeah, man, that was, man, that's almost 20 years ago now, you know, but so you can still, like, y'all look at this young brother right here. See this young brother right here? The Lord Geotron, I was him about 20 years ago, even though as a lawyer, you see what I mean? Because culturally I'm hood. You don't really stop who you are. So I like low riders. I used to drink out the bottle. You understand? I ain't had a gold tee, but shit, I had gold rims.
I got the gold, baby.
Yeah.
Miami.
So the thing is, man, what we have to do is there's going to be representation of brothers like Lord Geotron, but there also needs to be representations of brothers like me and Alvin and what's that, LTR, I mean, a lead attorney, so we can balance it out. You understand what I'm saying? But anyway, man, Kenton, welcome to the broadcast. Thank you for your patience. What would you like to add to the conversation, sir?
First, giving all honor and praise to the God of Israel. I greet you guys in peace. Shalom, shalom. The topic is negativity, right? You said just go for it. So this has been this journey for me has been a self-exploration thing. You know what I'm saying? I've been in the States, I say like 15, 16 years now. America has humbled the hell out of me and my identity as a man. This whole journey in life is just about me. I'm living this life, this me, you know what I'm saying? But as men, you know what I'm saying? I asked you before, you know, the black thing really like kicked me in the nuts, kind of. It's hard for me to swallow. But 2017 was a kick in the nuts too, because I had to really, you know, I'm raised as an African Hebrew Israelite, so I'm thinking I'm African, you know, Brillo pad kind of hair, you know, blackity black. Did the goddamn DNA test. I'm not that daggone black, you know what I'm saying? Raised over in Africa, whatever, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, I'm like,
explain what you mean. I need to know what you mean, brother. What are you talking about?
So my exploration and this swallowing this black pill, I'm looking at you men born and raised all your life, 46 years. That's all y'all know is America. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I never identified as America. But to swallow the pill that, dude, you might be Native American. You know what I'm saying?
So your DNA said that you're Native American?
Hell yeah, dude. That was something hard to swallow. You know what I'm saying?
Mine put up and said, I mean, I'm Pakistani and African. In other words,
okay.
But no, hold on, because my family's from Trinidad. I ain't got no Native American in me. Matter of fact, I got a little Caucasian in me, but for the most part, I'm African, and I, you know, and it's interesting. That's what I found out. But more on the line of the negative stereotypes that we have to deal with, because I want to focus on
this whole negative stereotype thing that y'all dealing with here in America. You testify of being out. I'm like I say, I'm raised in Africa, raised in Dimona, Israel. I'm an African Hebrew Israelite. You know what I'm saying?
You were raised where were you raised?
Dimona, Israel, Liberia. I'm an African Hebrew Israelite.
Okay, like that's where you were born?
No, I was born in Baltimore, Maryland.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, so this negativity y'all dealing with here, like you said, you testified to traveling out the country. You know what I'm saying? I was raised on one principle: brotherhood. As y'all said in the 1993 MOB. You know what I'm saying? The world is civilized. It's a man's world because we all agree as men, there's two things that we're willing to die for. That's like life and that's it, just life. You know what I'm saying? And the land, your country, is life. Your woman, Mother Earth, is life. So I understand this conflict that we having with in America, and I understand this because the identity of, you know, men and what it is to be a man.
Well, I mean, look,
Man,
and here's the thing, brother. I got to take some point of personal privilege and kind of bring it back to the actual conversation. Tonight, we're talking about the stereotypes that we as Black men have to deal with in the United States. The perceptions of sexual deviancy, the violence that we're perceived to commit. And you from Baltimore, so I'm sure
nah, I ain't gonna say I'm from Baltimore. I wasn't raised in Baltimore. I ain't from Baltimore. I've experienced
okay,
Baltimore.
but
Oh my God.
okay, I get it, but you clearly know that when you turn the TV on and the white folks say thug, they're not talking about some white boy with a suit on who sitting up in some chair in Wall Street, one of them tall buildings. You see what I mean? We know that. And so
Okay, so my whole thing is
let me finish prefacing the question. The
respect.
brothers talked about how the stereotype of sexual deviancy has made it easier for them to be convicted or found guilty of committing sexual harassment at their jobs, even when there is no proof. And so this is what we have to deal with. What are your thoughts
My
on
whole
that?
thing is the beef with women. The beef with women, like women ain't even part of the conversation. The beef is the only people we talking about. The only people we talking to, as you can see right now, is men. So
yeah, but what
my
I'm
whole
saying,
thing is men as a universal
because
code.
we gotta stay framed on this. These Black men are saying that there's a stereotype that we are sexual deviants, and so it makes it easier for people to believe that we did that. You see what I mean? It makes it easier for us to get convicted. That's just, I mean, do y'all see that?
I
See it
agree.
all the
I
time.
agree with 100. I agree
A
with
white girl,
100.
yeah,
But
a
if you
black.
keep on identifying yourself as Black, why don't you identify yourself as a Pakistani? Pakistani is her name
Because
as
if I
a
tell
citizen.
if the police pull up behind me and I say I'm a Pakistani, they're gonna say, get your black ass out that goddamn car. That's what they're gonna say.
Exactly. So you're
And they
going
might
against
call
a
me some
whole
worse than that.
institutional racism
But
is an
see,
institution.
okay, go ahead, Alvin.
So
Go ahead.
how do you
We'll let
change
you
the
finish.
idea of
here's
Black? You gotta stop using Black
it
because
doesn't
you're
matter,
All right,
sir.
participating in
brother.
an institution.
Let me try and say this. We didn't call ourselves N-words, they did. We didn't call ourselves Negroes, they did. We didn't call ourselves slaves, they did. You understand?
Okay.
All right.
Respect. Yeah.
We didn't even call ourselves African Americans or Black. Matter of fact, we've been Negroes since the Spanish first came to since the Spanish first called the word Negro to the person that looked dark.
Okay. Okay.
You know what I'm
As a
saying? But you
man,
gotta listen,
as a
brother.
man,
You
as
gotta
a
listen.
veteran,
Please
as a
listen. You gotta
soldier.
please, brother. You gotta please listen. So it's not
Okay.
necessarily what we think of ourselves, and that's important, but it's the perception that others have of us, and this is what they label us. White people didn't call themselves white. We called them white. The Indians call them pale face. They call them all sorts of things. The Hawaiians call them howlies. You see what I'm saying?
Howley. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is yeah, you can call it whatever you want to call it, but the label is not important because when you say thug, they know who you're talking about. When they say deadbeat daddy, fatherless children, fatherless American, when they say sexual deviant, when they say the most incarcerated, the most violent, you don't even have to put a picture of a Black man up. A picture is painted for them. You see what I'm saying? Because those are the negative stereotypes that we portray. So that's what I want to focus on tonight. I don't want to try to convince you. Gotta listen, brother. You gotta listen. I don't want to try to, change what that's like people saying, call me they, them, as opposed to he, she. You see what I'm saying, brother? Like, I get it. The terminology is important. But right now, I want to talk to these Black men about these negative stereotypes. And we only have a short period of time to do this and get as much work in as we can. Let's take a quick break. We're going to come back with Alvin and Lord G trying to keep my brother Keaton in here. You got a very interesting story. Y'all hit the number 1 button. We'll be right back. Look what I got for y'all.
Trump a racist?
I don't think so.
On Trump, is Trump a racist?
I don't think so. I've talked to a number of black entrepreneurs who back in the late 80s.
On Trump, is Trump a racist?
I don't think so. I've talked to a number of black entrepreneurs who back in the late 80s.
Your take on Trump, is Trump a racist?
I don't think so. I've talked to a number of black entrepreneurs who back in the late 80s and 90s, early 90s, were trying to get financing. They couldn't. Somebody told them to go check with Donald Trump. So they come back and tell me they got a loan from Donald Trump. He gave them a term loan. Show up with the interest and the principal, one check. But they had to go see him personally. They independently relate this tale that when they saw him, he said, "This what you supposed to pay me? This our agreement?" I said, "Yeah." And then tore the check up, shook their hands, and congratulations. Now run your business.
And this was when?
This was back in the 90s. See, most people don't even know this. He had a sister. He was, every time you saw.
All right, welcome back to the broadcast. I'm going to bring the guys in. I meant for you guys to see this video here, and this is something I wanted to share with y'all. I tried to get it to play so y'all could see our very special guest, who you all seem to love a lot for obvious reasons. But,
I've talked to a number of black entrepreneurs who back in the late 80s and 90s were.
That is Judge Joe Brown. Now, Judge Joe Brown has agreed to come back and talk to us on Monday at 8 p.m. So if you guys are free on Monday at 8 p.m., Alvin, I'd like for you to be here so I can introduce you to him. If you guys are free on Monday at 8 p.m., I'd like for y'all to come back and show your love for Judge Joe Brown. He did a magnificent job here, his first time here, and I look forward to having him back. He needs to see us. You understand? Because the brother is as old as my adopted father was. They went to law school together, and unfortunately, I don't see, like, we don't have a lot of elders like him, if you understand what I'm saying. And
OG.
And unfortunately, they don't live forever. I'll just say it like that. So what I'd like to do is, you look up to me, I look up to people like that. You understand what I'm talking about? And so I want y'all to come in on Monday. Y'all listen to what the brother has to say. Ask your questions. Let's try to get as much information as we can out of the brother, and just enjoy his presence. That's what elders are supposed to be for. But anyway, I want to get back to Alvin. Welcome back to the fellas. Y'all hit the like button, get the number 1 button popping. I want to give a shout out to everybody who contributed to the super chat, the Cash App, W. Alfonso. We had somebody come up in here and give me a 50 spot, man. That's something I can fill up my tank for the week, man. That's what I'm talking about. I appreciate that, man. Who's that? I can't get the rest. Yeah, Alvin, what would you like to add? GCLA, thank you so much, bro. What would you like to add, Alvin?
Well, I mean, I've almost been kicked out of college, and I've almost lost 3 jobs just because of either standing up for myself and or just living in being in my, not taking ish from anybody, right? But I want to talk about a particular my last job that I left. I had a funny feeling that something could happen, and in my job they had microphones and cameras everywhere. I'm under the impression that recording audio is illegal in California. That's for another story. But I knew that at some point in time, I was going to have to deal with some shenanigans. And I made it a point to always be within an earshot of the microphone or on camera when I was at work, because I had a funny feeling that something was going to happen one day and I was going to need it to defend myself. And sure as shit, did some girl get upset at me and have something. She yelled at me, right? I didn't even yell back. I countered. She threw another couple insults, and I told her, hey, look, if you were better, you wouldn't have an empty class. She got her feelings hurt. She cried, and she went to HR, and I had to deal with the 3-month investigation.
And what did they now? Let's go to the nature of what she said you did. Were you the big bad black man? Did you scare her?
She said, well, first what happened was she said that I verbally abused her in the moment. But what happened was they went back to the video and they were like, that's not really what happened. So then what they did was she said, well, no, what really happened was that we were at a photo shoot a month or two beforehand and we were wrestling around, and that's when he did X, Y, or Z. So she went ahead and moved the goalpost when she realized that the video evidence wasn't enough. And so they brought in all of my colleagues. They brought in everybody, the little girls at the front desk, everybody, and then questioned everybody and raked me over the coals. And I was running the show. I was the head guy, and everybody had tiptoed around me for 3 months because of what she said.
Yeah. So here's the thing, man. And I'm gonna give you a benefit of my experience. I typically prepare a script that I get my notes from. So I spend hours sometimes before I even come to these shows. This is 5 pages. This would be a college term paper. Every day I prepare. I look up stats. I do all this. I try to figure things out. So as far as the stereotype that you were dealing with, and this is how I know how thorough I am, because I talk to you brothers every day. You fell into these Negroes are inherently violent.
Absolutely.
And therefore assume that he did something violent to me and scared me in my poor self. And because that is a pervasive stereotype, it's easier to believe. Just like, let me give y'all a hint. If you came into a room and it was 3 dogs, 1 Chihuahua, 1 Pit Bull, and 1 German Shepherd, and that German Shepherd was all bit up and bloodied and whatnot, which dog would you look at and assume did it? The Chihuahua or the Pit Bull?
The Chihuahua. I know dogs.
The Pit Bull is the obvious answer.
The Pit Bull was what most people would say, because Chihuahuas don't necessarily have the stereotype of being killers. We've seen Pit Bulls lock up on male men, children. Matter of fact, there's an ordinance against Pit Bulls and some other dogs simply because of the fact that they're known for their propensity to violence. Even though those of us who raise Pit Bulls know that, for the most part, they will defend themselves. But if you raise them to be kind and you feed them and you don't force them to fight and cut their tails off and their ears off and smack them around and feed them gunpowder and make them fight and grab them by the muzzle and shake it up every 3 or 4 hours, they typically be dogs just like anybody else. But the stereotype is that it must have been that Pit Bull. And so because, Alvin, Black American men have this stereotype imposed upon us, then this is what we have to deal with. And this is what we must dispel. Because, see, now they use it, not only our own women, other women, and society at large uses that as a reason to paint us as the aggressor, to paint us as the attacker. Even when we are the victim, like Trayvon Martin, we are still perceived as the violent one. And that's why those stereotypes need to be dealt with. That's what I'm talking about. That's the danger of it. So what we do here in this so-called space that some people call the manosphere, many really are just men talking, is we help dispel those negative stereotypes. Alvin, what are your thoughts on that? And then we're going to go to Lord Giatron. How can we begin to dispel it? Because, see, y'all heard the stats. Lord Giatron, you've heard the stats. I done rattled off stats for the past 2.5 years. Now it's time for the optics. Alvin, what are your thoughts? And then we're going to go to Lord Giatron.
I think the ball is rolling. We push back, and we push back aggressively. Again, like I said, I think, we're seeing in the media where, everyone is had carte blanche to say whatever they want about us without any kind of repercussions. And
Right.
there, you know, we're starting to see a handful of people lose jobs, get demoted, get, you know, suddenly their, you know, their Twitter is blowing up, but not in a good way. You know, you know, it people used to pile on to Black folks, and now I think a lot of us are starting to take a second look. You know, Deshaun Watson, Cosby, you know, there's all these situations where people automatically go directly to guilty, and finally people are starting to take that second look and be like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound quite right, you know. And so I think this you know, again, we unfortunately the media is extremely important, and this is the media, right? It's pictures and images, and so we need to push back as hard as we can. That's why I have this page, because, and the reason I chose this name is so that people at least pay attention to it. Right? What the hell is that? What are you talking about? Now, I thought it was a little racy, but again, it's like, you know, say, hey man, you can't talk about us like that. We're not all like this. Like we're not all like that. You know, 6% of the population, but represented 80% of the time in the media for criminality. That's a real statistic. 80% of the time, they'll throw a Black man's mugshot up on TV, no problem. But when was the last time you saw a white man's mugshot outside of ones that they absolutely positively had to put on?
Right. Damn. Yeah, that's a good point, man.
Alvin
Lord,
is.
what would you like to add, Brother Kenton? We're gonna get to you in a minute. We try to go in turn here and show each other consideration and respect. Lord Giatron, what would you like? How do you? Here's the thing, and I'm gonna give you some numbers. Okay, Black men. There was a report that came out by the CDC that says that Black men are the most involved fathers of any other group of men in the United States. Yet we have the reputation of being the deadbeat, the worst fathers. So that is the exact opposite of what's true. Let me give you some more, because I want you to have this information. Black men get arrested. Now, we are only 6% of the population, but we make up a large percentage of the prison time. Now, here's the thing I want you to understand. That number has dropped significantly in the past 20 years. Oftentimes, when they say Black men are the most incarcerated, they're quoting stats from the 90s. That's like 30 years ago at this point. Those are false narratives, but they'll never tell you that. I did a show about that. Some of y'all might remember. Okay. There are more Black men in college than there are in prisons. That used to be untrue, but that's the truth now. 54% of Black men are childless. I'm sorry, 52% Black men are childless and not married. 64% of Black men have reached middle class like yourself, or rich or upper middle class. So how is it that we get this thing of being criminals, sexual deviant, when over half of us don't even have kids, deadbeat dads, that we're not good for anything but dumb athletes? But then you look at all the successful Black men who reached the middle class. That how do we begin to throw this in there? Because see, it's on you. It's gonna be on people like you. You young. It's on you. You're gonna have to push that narrative. You understand? How would you take those tools and wage that war? You got the tools. I gave you the tools. How are you gonna use that the next time you enter a conversation with somebody when they're trying to bash you as a Black man? Go ahead, brother.
Well, if they can't have an intelligent conversation, I'm not even going to talk to them. If they can't sit down and have the power of reason, which means to you talk, then I talk, then you talk, then I talk, and we rationalize. Reason means to yield, which means let someone else go first. We can't have a conversation intelligently. I'm not even going to talk to them. I'm just going to walk off.
I don't want you to do that. Let me show you something.
Okay. So here's my.
That sounds. It sounds it's a reasonable thing to do. But what you just told me is, if somebody's fighting dirty, I'm not going to fight dirty with them, because I'm not going to get down to that level. Let me show you what I do. Okay. Matter of fact, I can show you some emails today of my young associate who I've trained. When they go low, we go low. And these are lawyers talking to each other. And like, you would be like, wow, now they're not using profanity or anything like that. But let me give you a little bit of, and I don't know how many times you guys visit my page. over here, but my community page is like my old Facebook page. I'm gonna get at you. You see what I mean? I'm not gonna let you slide. So it started off, somebody had some sideways to say about me, right? And so, you know, I don't mind letting them have it. You want to fight dirty? I love. Are you kidding me? I can get down in the trenches with you. So this little fellow, old buddy, said, why are you putting bruh's contact info over here? You're behaving like a female. Boo-hoo. He said, words I don't like. He said, words I don't like. People contact him for me. Let harass this guy. Bruh, you a clown for this. So, you know, he came with the insults, right? So what did that do? That opened up the door. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I don't have to hold back. I'm not. If you take off your gloves and put on brass knuckles, you better be damn sure I'm gonna get a bat. You understand what I'm saying? So what did I say? First of all, I put him in this bullpen with all these dudes to analyze his behavior. Because see, now he's famous. He got 37 people making comments. What did I say, sir? I don't protect my enemies from my allies. That in itself is a whole hell of a lot to say. That would make me untrustworthy. You see what I'm saying? But the first thing you realize is I recognize this dude as my enemy. Because you come in this section for those reasons I talked about earlier, you don't even have to be here. So if you coming over here, you a spy and you looking to do damage, you looking for a reason to fight me. So you my enemy. And a lot of people don't see it in that context. Those of you guys who've read my books, you understand you got enemies, you got friends, you got people you don't know. Then you got family members, which they could fall in that category, but that's it. You gotta put a label on people just for you got enemies, you got friends, you got allies, and you got people you don't know. You understand? And
yes,
once
sir.
you put in that category, there you go. So you're my enemy. It's real simple for me. I don't have to give it a whole lot of thought. Sir, I don't protect my enemies from my allies. That would make me untrustworthy. It would, because my allies would be, why are you protecting this dude? He's your enemy. I can't trust you now. You see what I'm saying? The idea that you think I should, the idea that you think I should means you're acting like a female, because it implies that you're two-faced and sneaky. What I just did was mirror my enemy's words. It's like if you get a sword, I'm gonna get this. Have you read the 48 Laws of Power?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
All I did was take his weapon and use it against him. That irritates them. He called me a woman. I call him a woman. You see what I'm saying? And he don't know how to deal with that, because that's the best weapon that he has, because he hasn't figured out how to defend against it. That's why he uses it. You see what I'm saying? Think about that.
Right.
And then I hit him off with like a little broad.
Yeah, I was checking that out earlier.
Yeah, and see, that brings it down to a level where everybody can it reinforces what I'm saying about him. So there's an artful and skillful way in which you can sit and discuss these matters with the belligerent. Okay, because you're gonna run across the belligerent. Learn these lessons from me. I ain't gonna be, I don't fight with people in the comments section just because I'm doing it for fun. I'm doing it so you guys can learn how to speak to these people. The tongue is a weapon. You see what I'm saying? Can we get a proper, this is a good, my brother gave a good definition. Here's another one, some cat named Jimmy. Dennis is a bit phony. He criticizes women's negative behavior, but says he likes them. It sounds hypocritical to me. Okay.
He didn't even know the definition of the word hypocritical.
I know, but see, you gotta, brother, that's an insult. That's negativity. That's something he's been waiting to say for a long time, and he thought it was an opportunity to say that. But a lot of times when I throw these up there, these are traps to bring my enemies forth. See, your enemies are not going to come forth and tell you they're your enemies.
Right.
Okay. So let me, because now I done went off on a tangent. God damn it.
Go ahead.
I got my book, in my books, 48, the rules to live by. I used a lot of biblical references, and I explained something to you. The people will never, they'll never show you who they are until they think you need them, right? That's one thing. That's one aspect. And the other reason is another way is, and my God, I'm getting old. You know, I'm getting old, you guys. I'm getting old.
Congratulations.
But the bottom line is I use bait to expose my enemies. They're not going to show you who they are. You got to give them bait. You got to make them feel comfortable so they can come out of their little snail shell and try to bite you. It's a trap. You see what I mean? You can force them out. The gangsters used to say, I can't find this dude. I'm going to shoot up his mama's house, and then he going to find me. You understand what I'm saying? So I put bait out there. I make them think I'm weak. Oh, everybody's attacking them. It's time to attack Dennis. But they don't realize it's a setup. I'm setting you up. I'm setting you up to make an example out of you, so anybody else who thought they wanted to come get some is going to say, damn, I don't want no smoke. Because I tell you guys all the time, the only thing a certain group of people understand is violence. And the only thing they respond to is fear. The only thing they respond to is pain. And unfortunately, that's how the world works. Now, a lot of people aren't willing to do that, but I will do so freely because I understand that that's the oil that keeps this world growing. You understand what I'm saying? And any man that says he's not willing to use force, he's already dead. So when he said that Dennis is a bit phony, he criticizes women's negative behavior, but says he likes them, it sounds hypocritical to me. Dear Jimmy, notice the respect. The first thing I said to the other guy was sir. So I'm starting off respectfully. So, and then you'll see it's I take it and I turn it. And they like, by the time they go on that roller coaster with me, we're all the way somewhere else. And they like, oh, it's the punchline at the end of the joke. Criticizing women's behavior. Notice how I'm speaking. I'm not criticizing women's behavior and liking them are not mutually exclusive events. What that means is I can criticize a woman and still love her. It don't make any married man, a man with a woman can tell you, look, baby, I don't like your cooking, but I love you. Can you put a little bit more butter on them biscuits? You know what I mean? Can you not put that type of, can you cook them greens a little bit more? You understand? That's nothing wrong with that. It's like criticizing, and here's the analogy I gave them. It's like criticizing history of Thanksgiving and still eating turkey on Thanksgiving Day, which is something that we all have done. We know the history of Thanksgiving. You know how horrible it was. We know what it, white folk kicking, Indians' heads around. We know that, but we still eat that, we criticize. We know it's bad, it's not good, but we still celebrate it. You understand what I'm saying? Now, no, but see, I basically said, I know why that sounds hypocritical to you. It's probably because you don't know the definition of hypocritical. And that's clear to everybody. You understand what I'm saying? May I suggest a thesaurus, which means a book, not a definition, but those are two words he probably doesn't even know what it is, a thesaurus or a hypocrite. So people who are up on this level are already laughing at it. You see what I'm saying? They cracking up at him. And I say, now I hope you enjoy the block party with Big Shirley, a term that I borrowed from our good brother Kevin Samuel. Son husbands, another term I borrowed from Dr. Tia Son Johnson, and the weirdos. You understand? And then I depersonified it. What I did, depersonified. I didn't say sign Uncle D. I said sign management. That's what your landlord puts up on the wall when he says running in the hallway. You understand what I'm saying? So it's a way you use your natural humor, you use your knowledge, you use your information, and this is how you deal with the belligerent. I learned, we gotta go. I ain't gonna be here all night, man. I'm tired. I can't do this. But you gotta understand, and I'm gonna give y'all this other bit. Hit the number one button. When you make someone look, when there's a judge can't side with the person that looks stupid. So when you make people look stupid, then everybody is gonna go against them because nobody wants to be associated with stupid. Nobody is gonna ever side with stupid. You understand what I'm saying? That's why they always correcting people's spelling on the social media, because even if they can't argue with you, they'll say, oh, he can't even spell, therefore he's stupid, even though you know what you're saying. Here you got a person who's using the word out of context. I wrote about that in my books. I done had to order some more damn books because y'all done ordered all my books, and now I'm short on books. So I had to order a whole new bunch of books, and I was done selling books. All right, but either way, So anybody who wants these books to come together. But one of the first stories I talk about is when I was a young lawyer, I found out that opposing counsel had contributed to the judge's campaign. And so he was going to side with him in this case that I won, that they were going to try to appeal. He was going to either grant, those of you guys who know criminal procedure, man, God damn it, I'm going past 2 hours.
Come on,
all right,
come on.
go past 2 hours. Y'all hit the number one button, man. Y'all show your love, hit the number one button, hit the thumbs up. Okay, so the thing was, I won this case down in New Orleans City Court, and the defense counsel had made a mistake. He didn't show up. They filed a motion for appeal as opposed to a motion for new trial. The first thing you file after you lose a case is a motion for new trial. When that's denied, you got 7 days to file for a motion for appeal. The problem was we were in city court and not district court. So in district court, it's not 7 days, it's 3 days. So when they filed their motion for appeal in 7 days, it was too late. It was already too late, and it was too late to file a motion for new trial. So that made a procedural error. So they were going to come in and try to beg this judge who they contribute to his campaign and say, Judge, come on, Judge, cut us a break. We had good reasons. My mama was sick. It was Mardi Gras. Who knows? They all kind of stuff over there. But what I did is, Judge, I basically said, Judge, this is right here in the local rules. Any idiot can see this. Are you saying that you're going to side with this idiot who chose not to read, which is what lawyers are supposed to do, read? This is who you're going to cut a break. And the judge was like,
no,
I can't side with an idiot. I can't. This is you guys who remember the judge. He's judge. God damn it. He was Division A, city court down in New Orleans for many years. He probably gone by now, but he was the only white dude left. You see what I mean? And he couldn't. He said, I'm gonna have to rule against you. I gotta rule against you because you're stupid, and I'm not gonna tie my legacy to stupid. And see, this is how you win. So I'm gonna tell you this, Lord Geotron, when you're dealing with the what you say, brother?
I said, yes, sir. I'm all ears. I'm listening.
With belligerent people, when you're dealing with loudmouths who are talking crazy, treat them like they're stupid. Make the audience, because they're performing, recognize that they're performing. They're not doing that for you. They're doing that to get attention. So you treat them like they're stupid. You understand? And then everybody's going to be around them. You stupid. We can't side with you. So that's how you win arguments against the belligerent. The best thing to do is let them talk and talk and talk and just keep asking them questions. And you keep your cool. So what are you saying? And if you let them talk enough, they'll say something stupid that you can then capitalize on and say, see, I told you they were stupid, and they invalidate the entire argument. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I went through that one day. I went through something like that one day when this dude was trying to tell me ancient Egyptians had automobiles.
They did. You should say, well, you know what I would have said? Well, where'd they get their gas from?
I said, well, how did their empire fall when they would have been able to just run people over?
That's too advanced. No. Did they have air pumps there too for their tires for their cars? You gotta go with, bro. See, you gotta go.
I get what you're saying, though. I get what you're saying. I'm gonna follow that.
So how much was gas per gallon back then in Egypt? You gotta go with that. I would have a blast. It's like talking to a 5-year-old. Really? Just keep asking them stupid. And the people around them are saying, you stupid. And you're like, what kind of gas? Did they also have super petrol? I would ask them that over and over and over again, and people around, you are an idiot. And then they just lose everything. And they eventually realize they could tell.
Yeah, you had automobiles in ancient Egypt, but didn't have running water.
and they had a horrible lice problem. Why didn't they just drive away? But my bottom line is, brother, thank you so much, man. I ain't gonna go past 2 hours. I can't do it. I don't have the.
Can I just add one thing?
I want to get to the brother right here, brother Kenton, real quick, so we can get on up out of here, man. But we'll do. I
just have one. I got two things to say.
Thank you, everybody, for your contributions. I appreciate it. Let's keep it going. Donate to the Super Chat. Donate to the PayPal. Donate to the Cash App. It's your contributions and your donations that'll cause for this platform to grow. Let our voice be the voice, the preeminent voice in Black America.
All right, welcome back to the broadcast. If you guys appreciate what I'm doing, man, y'all make sure y'all hit the thumbs up button. All right, show your appreciation. I know this is a little off topic, but it's still on topic. I mean, I'm entitled to address the naysayers. I think y'all learned a little bit tonight about how to deal with your naysayers. You know, sometimes it's okay that they hit below the belt, you hit them below the belt. That's how they learn not to hit you below the belt. If you guys, anybody who's played football, what did they tell you? Somebody cheap shot you, you cheap shot them as soon as you can. You deal with it on the field. Okay, so this is how you fight. Some people only understand fear and violence. Unfortunately, they only understand ignorant. When you're dealing with ignorant, you can't be intelligent with the ignorant. There's a way in which you deal with savages, and savages have always existed. And so you got to deal with savages in a savage manner. You can still maintain your frame and who you are, but know who you're dealing with. Okay. And so I don't want you guys to back down. I want you guys to not be mean, but I want you to assert yourself. Okay, because they're gonna call it mean, but what you're saying is no, I'm not being mean, I'm being assertive. You take that away, you take that ground away, because mean has a negative connotation associated with it. You understand what I'm saying? But
yes,
anyway, brother, I want to get to Brother Kenton. Go ahead, brother. The floor is yours, sir.
I agree with you, brothers, and that's what keep me coming back to it. The fact of brotherhood, talking and reasoning about logic of how to, be the best version of ourselves is exactly. You are an example of that, understanding the law of the land and how it makes you. Also, the brother Alvin, I believe, is a great example of that. Being married to other brothers outside that look like
young brother Geotron too. You hear all them hours he working?
Exactly. So I'm just saying, it's all about the brotherhood. It's all about the brotherhood, because all men want to do, honestly, all we want to do is eat, sleep, and fuck. Honestly, you know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna disagree with that.
That's all we really want to do.
Some men want to build. Some men want to destroy. Some men want to. Everybody is whatever it is they want to do. You understand? Let's not cast all these folk into the same category.
Can I add to the conversation real quick?
Come on, Alvin. I'm ready to go, man.
I know. But this is important. One thing that I've realized about us, and something that we need to realize, is that other people, other groups are allowed to separate themselves for things that happen with their group. Right? Like there's a serial killer and it's like, oh, well, he was just a serial killer. I don't, that was just him. He just did whatever. Right? Like other groups allow their other people, they can separate themselves from the other people. Us, unfortunately, they don't allow us to separate ourselves from everyone. We're all deviants. We're all violent. We're all X, Y, or Z. And we have to conduct ourselves as if we are all the same. They don't allow us the latitude to be able to separate ourselves, right? That guy is a deviant. That guy is a criminal. Oh, I'm not, but they treat us exactly the same. And I think that we all need to understand that as Black men, we just don't have that latitude. This country, we could say the world, but this country doesn't give us that type of latitude. And we need to start moving in that way. I myself thought, you know what? Hey, I'm not like that. I'm not like this. I'm not like that, until some cop pulled me over and snatched me out of my car. And I'm like, wait a minute, bro. Like, I make a lot of money. I pay my taxes. I dot my I's and cross my T's. Like, why are you treating me like this? It doesn't matter as Black men. It doesn't matter. And it starts right here with this kind of activity. We need to approach life as though, look, we always have to put our best foot forward. And unfortunately, it's not fair. It's not fair. But it is what it is, and we have to operate accordingly. And I'll land my plane there.
All right. And with that, this is Uncle D, and I'm out.